Hello, spooky crew. Our tote bag drawing is officially closed, and we just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who entered. We are so grateful for the love and the support, and we have loved reading your reviews. Missed the tote? No worries. We're still sending out high-quality vinyl stickers while supplies last. Just email us proof of your rating and review along with your mailing address to thespookydarlings@gmail.com, and we'll get one headed your way. Quick promise, your address is only for mailing the sticker. No emails, no selling info, no funny business, just spooky gratitude. Thanks again for supporting the show. You are the reason we do this.
You're listening to The Spooky Darlings, where three sisters gather to talk about the strange, the sinister, and the stories that keep us up at night. I'm Haley.
I'm Nettie.
I'm Emily.
And Emily, I believe this is your episode today.
Yes. Let me take you to a little suburb of Atlanta, Georgia called Powder Springs. It's about 45 minutes outside of Atlanta, Georgia. A woman named Cynthia, or Cyndi Williams, as her friends called her. She was 30 years old. She was married to a loving husband, Ted Williams. She was close with her parents and sister. She had a 3-year-old niece that she doted on. She was warm, upbeat, reliable, just a genuinely kind person. She loved animals and was devoted to her family. She had a smile that energized people, that people remembered. Friends and coworkers talked about her positive energy and enthusiasm, and that made her very well suited for her job in real estate and home sales. So she was doing really well in her career. And I don't know if everybody that listens knows about little, new developments that have sometimes multiple builders. They'll buy a plot of land and plan it out for a bunch of different lots. And there are usually different builders that have different lots that they'll sell. And it becomes like a little kind of planned neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So they worked in a model home in one of those. So it's usually kind of like a pre-built home that's staged really nicely, and the offices of the selling agents will be inside there, and then the builders that work on the homes they'll have an office there too, and they'll kind of come and go and oversee the projects as they're built there.
Like focused on particularly selling properties and homes just within that neighborhood?
Yeah, so it's where you go. So we did this once, our second house that we had in Texas. You go, you kind of decide the builder that you're the most interested in. You choose a lot that is available that you like, and then you choose the layout, the floor plan that you like the most, and they'll show you different ones that are like all the way built or partially built, or the one that their office is in is sometimes one that they'll offer too. And they have kind of usually rules about you can't have the same exact home with the same front too close to each other, so it doesn't look funny like identical homes.
Has to be a little bit of variety.
Yeah.
But still look uniform. Has to be within. Okay, I remember that house.
Yeah.
It was cute.
Yeah, so this was the kind of office that that Cyndi was working in. She was doing great in her career, and this is where she met Lori Brown. So Cyndi was 30 years old. Lori Brown was 21 years old. She was a middle child, a rule follower. She was kind-hearted, had a great sense of humor. She was warm and caring, always smiling. Just one of those bubbly, infectious personality kind of people. Yeah. She was also very motivated and driven. She, at 18, right after she graduated high school, impressed all of her classmates by getting her real estate license and following in her mother's footsteps and becoming a seller for one of these companies. So Lori and Cyndi met at work. They became close. Cyndi kind of took Lori under her wing. Mm-hmm. Lori had recently gotten engaged. This is in the year, this is in 2003. So Lori had gotten engaged to her high school sweetheart. His name is Johnny Tuggle. And
that's a cute last name.
Sorry, I just have to take a deep breath.
Johnny?
Because every time I typed Johnny Tuggle, my autocorrect corrected to Johnny Giggle.
Oh.
But Lori and Johnny met while they were in high school. She was a sophomore and he was a junior. And, they just kind of fell for each other. And, a few years after high school, got engaged. They had just purchased their first home together. They bought Lori's childhood home from Lori's parents. So they were really excited about their future together. Uh-huh. Their wedding date was set for September 25th, 2004. So things were just kind of, looking great for them. Everybody was excited. Lori was doing great in her job too. She had recently gotten a promotion, and then she and her team, which I couldn't find confirmation on this. I assumed that since Lori and Cyndi were working together, that Cyndi was also included in this. But Lori and her team had recently won a contest and were going to get to go to New York City. This would have been Lori's first time ever going to New York City. She was super jazzed about that and excited about it. And just to tell you the kind of person that Lori was, when one of her siblings had a baby, she went over to their house, and while they were in the hospital, before they came home with the baby, she cleaned their entire house and cooked a fresh meal, even had a cake for dessert.
Wow.
To have that all ready for them when they walked in the door. And just
oh my God.
So thoughtful.
Just a very thoughtful, caring kind of person.
She sounds like my sisters.
Yeah.
So Cyndi and Lori were close, and Cyndi was even helping Lori with some of her wedding plans. So this brings us to November 3rd, 2003. Lori and Cyndi were scheduled to work together in one of the modeled homes. So, this timeline is kind of pieced together by different people that saw Lori and Cyndi beforehand. So Cyndi is in the model home alone around 12:40. Lori was coming soon. And a man named Stacey Ian Humphreys walked into the model home and found Cyndi alone. He forced her at gunpoint to remove all of her clothes except for her black knee-high stockings. So this must have been part of her uniform. She had black knee-high stockings. He forced her to give him all of her bank cards and to give her her ATM passwords, her PIN number.
Oh my gosh.
And he even called her bank to see what her balance was before. And this is, I don't know if we need to give a trigger warning. This is a little bit graphic.
Okay, I can put in a chime.
He used her own underwear to strangle her before shooting her in the back, which pierced her lung, and then shooting her in the back of the head.
Oh, no.
It's such overkill.
And then, not long after that, actually, first, he used a bag of those latex balloons. Oftentimes, realtors at model homes will have balloons out to kind of signal to people to come and look at their stuff. There was a bag of uninflated balloons. He used that as a silencer. He shot through the bag of balloons.
Oh, geez.
Oh my goodness. It's like he just was thinking of this on the spot. He didn't come in and being like, and I know there'll be oh my goodness.
Then, not long after, Lori Brown walks in. She's the 21-year-old, and he kind of went through the same thing. He made her remove all of her clothes except for her black knee-high stockings.
Ugh, so weird.
And he demanded her ATM PIN and called her bank, asked for the balance. And then evidence showed that she was placed in some kind of chokehold rather than having an item that he used to try to strangle like he did with Cyndi. He placed Lori in a chokehold before shooting her in the back of the head.
Gosh.
And then he also, in this case, he used the balloons again to muffle the shot as well as her blouse. So they found that that he had shot through both of those things. So he then dragged Lori's body over to her desk and then left with Lori and Cyndi's bank cards.
Jeez.
So the builder at the model homes for the company that Lori and Cyndi worked for, his name was Glenn. His office was in the basement of this model home building, and he was actually there the whole time.
Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me.
So apparently,
What did
I don't
he
know
say?
how well you can muffle sounds with what he used, but Glenn hadn't heard anything until he heard a chime indicating that somebody had opened the door and left. So he went upstairs thinking that he was going to check in on Lori and Cyndi and see, if somebody was interested in
Right.
one of the lots or in the house. And instead, he found Lori's body on the ground, and he called 911.
Oh my goodness.
And then it was the responding officers that then found the second body of Cyndi Williams under her desk as well.
Oh, my goodness.
So knowing that this was going to start to spread fast in the community, the police knew that they had to tell the families. So Lori's mother was in disbelief because she'd just seen her daughter.
Right.
I can't remember if they had just gone to lunch together, but they had just seen each other. So the mom was like, no, I just saw her.
Right.
And she was so distraught that they had to bring paramedics in to attend to her because she was she just lost it. Johnny Tuggle, Lori's fiance was a week away from graduating the police academy, and he was pulled out. And he thought at first that he was in trouble because he was pulled out by one of his superiors,
Gosh.
the academy director, and he was informed that Lori and Cyndi had been found murdered at their sales office. So at first, the police questioned Glenn, who was the building manager, the builder.
Yeah.
They questioned him, and they then started to ask around the neighborhood. But in this neighborhood, like, it was a lot of empty lots and then a lot of partially built homes. So there weren't a lot of people living in the neighborhood. So there weren't a lot of people to ask. It was kind of one of those, like, if you were one of the first families to build the
Right.
home and move in, it would be a while before you really had neighbors. So
That's probably why the Stacey, I think you said was his name, chose that place.
Not a lot of witnesses.
Because, yeah.
could be. So the police, are starting to ask around. They thought at first, like, everybody's mind went to, it must be a laborer at the construction sites, one of the guys putting up frames and building these homes. But then Glenn said that he had seen a black SUV and thought that it was somebody there for a showing. And I'm going to go back and forth between SUV and truck. What is a Dodge? Shoot, what was it? Ranger? Is that a truck or an SUV?
I think it's a truck.
I've heard it called truck and I've heard it called SUV. So just know that there's a big black vehicle.
Dodge Ranger. Okay.
I don't know. So Glenn had seen a black SUV and thought that it was somebody there for a showing. So as they're canvassing the neighborhood, they come across another sales office, which was for a different builder, but in the same development that they were working on. So at the sales office, an agent there said that a guy came in and he was like, "Oh, I'm interested in this lot." And she was like, "Oh, well, that's not one of our lots. We don't sell that lot." And she said that something seemed off. It was just like a little bit weird. And he kind of like, I don't know, it was an odd interaction, but like, then he left. But she described him as looking like a big guy, like a bouncer, like just kind of stocky, big, and bald. And that he was driving a big black SUV. So now they've got two people that have described this black vehicle, SUV or truck, and now they have a description. So news media starts to go crazy. The medical examiner said that there were no defensive wounds and no seminal fluid. So, and I saw one account that said like that there was no evidence of sexual assault. But I honestly, like, I feel so uncomfortable with even saying that, because being forced at gunpoint to remove your clothing is in itself.
That is,
like,
Yeah, that feels like sexual assault.
that is like unconsenting.
So yeah, so I mean, it's obvious that these women were put through something really, really awful, and but there was no defensive wounds and no seminal fluid found at the scene. Cyndi's husband called police and informed them that Cyndi's ATM card had been used.
Oh,
So
okay.
they found that Lori Brown's ATM card had also been used at that same spot. Surveillance video from the ATM showed a big black SUV, but you could not see the driver, like he was kind of trying to hide himself. So Lori and Cyndi's debit cards, driver's licenses, and keys were thrown out of the window along a stretch of road somewhere along the way, and some high school kids found the bank cards, keys, and licenses. So there are lots of tips, lots of people calling things in.
Do we know how much money he took?
It was around $3,000 total.
That is all. I mean, I'm
Taking 2 lives for
Jeez, 2 lives.
$3,000. Ugh.
I mean, no price is
No.
worth it, but seriously, $3,000.
It's pretty tragic, isn't it? So lots of people are calling in tips. And then a man named Ben Lindsay with an electric company called the police and said, there's another guy that works at the same electric company. He's a parolee. His name is Stacey Humphreys. He was like, he's an odd guy. And he matches this description: tall, bald, large, bouncery.
Weirdo.
Bouncery is not a word, like looks like a bouncer.
I knew exactly what you meant.
So he matched the description, and he also drove a big black vehicle. And in addition, he had called in and missed work on November 3rd, saying that he had to take his grandma to the doctor.
Oh, does he even have a grandma?
Yeah.
He does.
Okay.
But so in addition to this, a gun had been stolen on the job site a few months earlier. I think it was just taken from a car. But they found that it was the same kind of gun that was used to commit the crime. So they
So
thought
a gun taken from a job site that Stacey was working on, like another
Yes.
worker reported his gun was missing or something.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah. So, in addition to like this guy's like, hey, this man named Stacey Humphreys works here, drives this kind of car, looks like this kind of guy. And also, we think he stole a gun from somebody else on a job site recently.
Jeez.
So,
A lot of things pointing
Adding
to
up.
this person.
yeah. So the police are like, okay, can you take a picture of his car? So Stacey's back at work at this point, and this Ben guy takes a picture of his car and sends it to the police at their request. So they start looking into Stacey Humphreys, and they find Stacey Humphreys had a criminal history that went back to October 1993. So this is, 10 years before. It's 2003 that these women were murdered. And 1993, Stacey Humphreys pleaded guilty to charges of burglary, car theft, and forgery connected to him breaking into one car and then stealing a different car.
Whoa.
Okay.
So for those crimes, he was given a 10-year prison sentence, and he ended up serving 3 years in prison with the other 7 years to be served on probation. So he's out and on probation.
I mean, it's just kind of like, these kinds of people, they always start out with like smaller crimes such as burglary or like classic peeping toms, and then it escalates to this
Yeah.
crazy violence.
Yeah.
So actually, though, while he was still on parole in March of 1997, so this is 5 years before the murders, Humphreys violated his probation by impersonating a police officer at a mall in Genesee, Georgia. And I could not find any additional details on that crime. I don't know why he was impersonating a police officer, what he was intending to do, but I mean,
Right.
It
So he
can't be
could have
anything-
been trying to steal or trying to like kidnap someone. We just don't know. We just know.
yes.
Ted Bundy impersonated a police officer. Didn't Christopher Wilder?
Yep. Think so.
So his parole is then revoked, right? Because he's caught impersonating a police officer. And
Yeah.
so
So,
he has
parole revoked is back to jail, right?
Yes, so he has to go back to jail, and he's supposed to serve the rest of his prison sentence behind bars for breaking parole. But then in 1998, the Pardon and Parole Board voted to have him released early in 2002. So he still had a few more years to spend, but they voted to let him be released early on a conditional release. So he gets out in October of 2002 and moves in with his grandmother, where, they thought that he was kind of abiding by the rules. He hadn't violated his conditional parole yet that we know of between the time that he was released and the terrible events that happened on November 3rd of 2003. So he was supposed to remain on parole until January 2004. So he was literally just a few months away from being free of his parole. How do you say that? Like ending his parole time. He was just a few months away. And the spokesperson for the Board of Pardons and Paroles, her name is Heather Kendrick. And she said that Humphreys was classed as a, quote, property crime offender with no history of any sort of assault or violence in his past at all, unquote. So that's how they justified releasing him early. So, I mean, I think the thing that gives me like such a terrible feeling is that like without knowing, I'm just inserting my own like suspicions here, but without knowing what he was doing to impersonate that police officer, I feel like you could justify intent to hurt somebody there. Like there's no reason to make yourself look like an authority unless you're like trying to break into the Home Alone house or,
Right.
something.
Home Alone house, in which a psychotic 9-year-old lives there.
Yeah,
and
I
he's
would
gonna
not.
kick your butts.
I would not.
Okay, so the police found that his mugshot from that arrest where he impersonated an officer matched closely the police sketch from that, from the description from the model home agent that had described him, the one that had been weirded out.
Right.
So all of this is taking place just 13 months after he was released on parole and just 2 months before he was supposed to end his parole. So police have zeroed in on Humphreys. They're like, okay, we don't want to spook him. We don't want to make him run. So they're watching him with caution. They didn't want to try to arrest him before they had enough to get him on also. So they contacted his parole officer, and they thought this would be a good way to like act cool and casual and be like, oh, yeah, so just come on in. Let's have a meeting, you know? So the parole officer set up a meeting, and they had 2 detectives set up outside of Stacey Humphreys' grandmother's house watching. So the parole officer asked for a meeting on November 7th, and he didn't show up.
Of course he didn't.
Yeah, so the 2 detectives that were stationed outside of his house saw him coming out of the house. He had backed his car into the driveway and had the back hatch up, and he was loading things into his car.
Did he kill his grandma?
So as far as I know, his grandmother is okay.
Okay, so he wasn't putting...
Packing up. He's going to run away.
He wasn't putting his grandmother into the trunk. That is where my mind went. He is putting his belongings.
Yes, items, no grandmother, but yeah, so he's loading up the car, and the officers that were parked outside the house thought that he was looking, that it looked like he was trying to
Their alarm
skip
bells
town.
were going off.
And there was not a rug in the shape of a body that he put into his car. Just clarifying for Nettie.
There was not.
Okay.
So the police were instructed not to let him leave the house, but Stacey must have seen them because he looked their way, grabbed some stuff out of his car that he had just loaded into it, and then shut the garage door and went back inside. And so, they're calling all police. Everybody's headed to that house to try to circle in and prevent him from leaving. When a next door neighbor calls and says that somebody matching his description was running through their backyard.
Oh my goodness.
So he ran away on foot, and he got away.
Wow.
So Stacey Humphreys
On the run.
at this point is on the run with a gun.
Oh my gosh.
So they have search teams. They've got search dogs, helicopters, the whole shebang. Like this little sleepy town, is thrust into this whole scene of excitement. Like it feels like a movie. There's all this stuff happening, and Stacey Humphreys gets away.
Oh.
So Detective Herman, who was the lead on this case, somehow was able to get Stacey Humphreys on the phone. He called him and he just asked him to come in, and Stacey says no. And then apparently at this point, Stacey shuts off his phone.
Okay.
So they find, and I believe that he used the stolen cards to pay for this, but he rented a gray Jeep Grand Cherokee. And isn't it nuts that somehow he was able on foot to run far enough and get it? Have you ever rented a car? It takes you
forever.
way longer than you think it should. So he's just standing there just renting a car somehow.
Yeah.
So at this point, the police get the Marshal Service involved, the U.S. Marshal Service, and they have a fugitive warrant. So that allows them to get help from other agencies, which, as true crime lovers, we know that's the best thing that can happen. There's nothing worse than knowing a case could have gone forward better if different jurisdictions had shared information and all that stuff. And I think, we see people getting better at that. We see the law enforcement getting better at that. So the U.S. Marshals are involved, and the Marshal Service is trying to track his phone. His phone, he must have turned his phone on because it pings then.
Okay.
So this whole thing started out near Atlanta, Georgia, and it pings in Nashville, Tennessee.
Whoa.
So
On the move.
he'd been keeping his phone off. He turned it on to make a call, but he then turns it back off. So they can't maintain his exact location, but they know at this point that he's heading north, and they suspect that he's trying to get to Canada. So this is important to note. The U.S. has extradition agreements with Canada and with Mexico, but anytime they extradite somebody, it means they have to take the death penalty off the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of these law enforcement people they put out a BOLA, which, as we know, stands for be on the lookout
Oh, yes.
for this piece of shit. POS, which stands for piece of shit, or
Bolo for POS. Yep.
Yes.
it can also stand for point of sale if you work in retail. But this one is POS.
I like that one.
Yeah.
For this guy.
Yeah.
Piece of shit rather than point of sale.
It makes more sense.
Yes.
Yeah. They didn't actually, the POS part was me. They didn't actually put out a BOLO for POS.
But I liked it.
I just added that in.
I love it.
I totally thought it was the cops.
I'm glad you did.
So they're trying to catch him before he gets to Canada because it's important to them to be able to pursue the death penalty in this. Everybody's kind of shaken because it was such a tragic scene that Stacey left behind with those 2 women.
Yes.
Seriously.
So they begin to map potential routes for the wanted fugitive, assuming that he's trying to get across the border to Canada. And then on November 8th, 2003, and this is 16 hours after he ran from his grandmother's house, a Milwaukee, Wisconsin police officer. So he made it all the way from Georgia to Milwaukee.
Whoa.
A Milwaukee police officer, a highway patrolman, he had seen the bolo and he saw a car go by that matched the description. So he pulled out to follow him and a chase ensued. This chase lasted like 30 to 40 minutes at speeds of over 110 miles an hour.
Wow. That sounds dangerous.
Yes, very intense. Finally, the police are able to throw out stop sticks, which I think are the same as like road spikes, and they bust out the front two tires of Stacey Humphreys' rental car. He tried to keep going, like flooring it on two blown out front tires. And then finally, he's blowing through stop signs, driving super dangerously, but finally he gives up and he pulls over into a hospital parking lot and he turned himself in, and the murder weapon is found with him inside the car.
Oh my goodness.
So before even being Mirandized, Stacey Humphrey is like, I'll plead guilty. He's offering to plead guilty and take the death penalty. He's like, I'll talk, so this is what he's saying. But, he is Mirandized. They do it the right way. Good. There are no holes.
They weren't like, Stacey, if we thought you were guilty.
Oh, you guys, here. Yeah, kidding. Exactly. There's no shady business. Okay, so I need to send you guys this because I have a little script that I need you to read.
Okay.
Sorry, I meant to send this before I started.
Just want to say, I looked up Dodge Ranger. There's a Ford Ranger, and it's a truck, but there's no Dodge Ranger that I could find.
Did I? Dodge Durango.
Oh, that's
my
an
gosh.
SUV. A Dodge Durango is an SUV, 100%.
Okay, sometimes people in the South call SUVs trucks, and Ranger is the wrong word. I totally meant Durango. Okay, so I'm sending you guys this script. Haley, will you please read the lines for Detective Eddie Herman? And Nettie, will you please read the lines of Stacey Humphreys? This is an interview that took place in jail on the next day after his capture on November 9th, 2003. And Stacey Humphreys he's there and he's hanging his head. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Do you remember if you had them together at the same time and made them take their clothes off?
I don't remember any of it. I don't want to remember any of it. But
do you remember picking up the shell casings after you shot them?
No.
You shot them and killed them. They were dehumanized, but you don't remember any of that? Is that what you're saying?
It seems...
Considering what you did to those girls and some of the thought processes that went into it, I'm just having a hard time rationalizing that you can't remember anything about it. Because there was some thinking that went into it. You're going to have to offer up some type of explanation.
I don't know what the hell I'm going to say. I can't explain it myself. How am I supposed to explain it to somebody else?
You remember holding a gun on either one of them?
I lost my spot. Okay, found it. Okay. If I went in there, if I did that for nothing but money...
Well, I don't think it was for nothing but money.
I don't even care about money. I don't have any. I don't care.
It's our job to try and find out why. But that's your call because you're the one that was there when it happened, not us.
Regardless of the reason, I don't know why the hell I would do it. And the way it sounds, it just... I don't think disgust is the right word, but I can't... I can't give no reason. I don't know.
Okay, in this 2-hour interview, Stacey Humphreys claims that he blacked out and couldn't remember the crime. Stacey Humphreys is then charged with...
I think he is FOS, which is full of shit.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so he was charged with 2 counts of malice murder, 2 counts of armed robbery, 2 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of kidnapping. And in September of 2007, he was convicted of all counts and sentenced to death by lethal injection.
Oh.
Whoa.
Is he still in prison? Or is he...
I'll tell you more.
Okay.
The night before the murders, he had gone out to dinner with his girlfriend. And I was super surprised to hear that he had a girlfriend.
Whoa.
Me too. Like right now,
girlfriend?
I jaw dropped just now.
He had gone out to dinner with his girlfriend and a friend, and he tried to pay for dinner, but his card was declined. He had car payments due, and he had gotten caught up in payday loans, which are those super high interest loans that are nearly impossible to get out of.
Yeah.
So he was in a hole and was struggling to find a way out. And police say that he was just looking for someone to rob. And it is, I mean, it's always, to be fair, like we should note, the things that lead up to this. Lots of people have terrible childhoods that don't go on to hurt other people. But Humphreys did have a childhood that was filled with abuse. And psychiatrists that evaluated him said that he exhibited signs of PTSD as well as a form of autism and dissociative disorder.
Okay.
So he was in jail on death row. He was set to be executed in December of 2025.
Oh, okay.
His last meal request was barbecue beef brisket, pork ribs, bacon double cheeseburger, french fries, coleslaw, cornbread, buffalo wings, meat lovers pizza, vanilla ice cream, 2 lemon sodas.
That's too much.
Whoa.
No one can eat that much. Not even Stacey.
Yeah.
No.
Did that remind you of that? I think you
It
should
reminded me of
leave.
that McDonald's commercial. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh, no.
It just reminded me of the Pay It Forward episode of I Think You Should Leave, where he tries to go back around to get somebody to pay for his order, and he orders like hundreds of things.
And then he tries to drive away and he's like screaming in his car and he's like, oh, wait, I can just go. And he gets out of his car and he runs away.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. I've got to catch up on those.
We can cut that out anyway. So that was his last meal request. This would have been the first and only execution in the state of Georgia in 2025. But so he was scheduled to be executed on December 19th
Okay, so
of
like
2025 at 7 p.m.
just like a few weeks ago, just like right before
Yes,
Christmas.
but so there were multiple appeals, and I had a hard time finding an exact timeline of how things went. So apparently there were a few things that happened. His lawyers argued that his traumatic childhood hadn't been shown enough in court to give him any sympathy, and there was one juror that apparently they later found to be problematic. She had an attack where somebody attacked her, like I think in a home invasion, and she downplayed it at the time that she was being selected. But then apparently in deliberations, the jury, the other members said that she revealed more than she had revealed initially in the jury selection process, and was kind of, maybe they believe, unfair in how she was pushing for the death penalty. Like people were kind of like wanted to say he was guilty, but she was like holding out to make sure everybody was on board on the jury to push for the death penalty for him.
I don't know how
And
I
they
feel,
think that maybe it was a little bit unfair.
Maybe she was like doing a little transfer of like acting like Stacey was the guy that invaded her home and maybe held her at gunpoint, or
She might have
whatever
been
happened to her.
she might have been pro death penalty without having been a victim of a home invasion. I feel like if they knew she was a victim of a home invasion, if that was their issue, she gave them the necessary information.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think
That's how I feel.
it's all tricky, and I don't know how much of what we do in jury selection is fair or not fair. Honestly, like each side is trying to select people that will be more sympathetic to their side. But anyway, there were some things on that end that were brought into question, and then also there was something to do with COVID time executions that they were trying to argue on, even though this was post-COVID. There were a few other things, but basically his execution was postponed at his clemency hearing on December 15th, 2025. And then there were apparently allegations also of conflicts of interest against two of the the clemency hearing board members. So, or the pardons and parole board members. Somehow there was enough that his lawyers were able to argue that there was something that was a conflict of interest. So his execution was postponed indefinitely. And then on December 29th, 2025, a Superior Court
like
judge
2 days ago.
issued, this was this week. A Superior Court judge issued an order preventing the board from rescheduling any clemency hearings for Stacey Humphreys for up to 3 months. So right now, at the time that I started researching this, I thought that he was going to be executed in December, and then it was, postponed, and now it's maybe postponed forever. Maybe they can have another hearing in 3 months. So we don't quite know what's going to happen. We'll have to watch and see and give an update on that. whether he will remain in prison or if he will have to face the death penalty. So it was actually really tough to find. I think that Lori Brown's family was a little bit more open to speaking to media about their experience, but I think that Cyndi Williams' family must have been less so because it was a little bit harder to find information about her. But on findagrave.com, I found a little bit. And Cyndi Williams' husband, Ted, cried. I think this was in his victim impact statement. And he cried and told the jury that he remains functionally depressed since his wife's death, that he's been withdrawn. He's thinking about moving and trying to go somewhere else because it's pretty painful. And he says, I catch myself during the day thinking, wait until Cyndi hears about this. Or I hear something and imagine her laughing, he said, sobbing. All I want is to have her back, but that's never going to happen. Cyndi's sister, Terry, and they were very close, said that she had always asked her younger sister for advice, which she, kind of laughed about a little bit just because, she was the older sister, but she asked her younger sister, Cyndi, for advice, and she cried as she recalled having to tell her 3-year-old daughter that her aunt, Cyndi, had died.
I can't even imagine. It's just, it's so heartbreaking.
And Terry said, our family has a hole in it, a large hole that no one can ever fill. And Cyndi's family asked for donations to the Humane Society or another charity in lieu of flowers, just kind of coming back to her love for animals and the kindness that she had in her heart that her family wanted to honor. Lori Brown's family set up a memorial scholarship in Lori's name for $1,000 a year for a Cobb County student to honor Lori's memory, and her family thought that that was fitting.
Yeah, that's nice. That is really sweet. Good way to.
And her fiance, Johnny Tuggles, he's remained close to Lori's family, and he said that he feels like he has a unique perspective now that he's in law enforcement. He feels like he has a unique perspective towards victims of violent crimes because he's been through it and lost somebody close to him.
This will probably really help him in his career as a police officer and a detective, just to have that point of view.
Yeah. And it's been over 20 years. And so, I think that he's probably been able to.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that this happened so long ago. In my mind, it's like I'm making it recent, but you're right.
Yeah.
Like if he's still a cop, he's been a cop for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been able to use that experience to probably help people in tough situations for a while.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's the story of the 2 lives taken by Stacey Ian Humphreys.
So when you were saying that no more clemency hearings would be granted, does that mean that he is just indefinitely not going to be executed, or if he gets an execution date set, they can't challenge it?
I think that it said no more clemency hearings for 3 months, meaning they can't reopen they can't reopen things to set a date for him for at least 3 months. That's my understanding, but let's ask a lawyer.
Who's your husband?
I wonder what the statistics are, just because we hear so many cases about crimes, horrific crimes being committed by people who are let out on parole. And I would be curious what the statistics are at like people who are let out on parole that fix their lives and do well versus people who are let out on parole that are reoffenders. And I do feel like we need stricter rules. If you're let out on parole and you break it, you should not be given a second chance. You're like, it should be like you should be put back in jail and your sentence should be added to. There's just too many cases of people being let out and then committing horrific crimes and given chance after chance. And it feels like there's no accountability for the people making these decisions, which I understand why. Like otherwise, like you'd never let anyone on parole if you were like, well, if I let them out and they commit a crime, I could be blamed. So I understand why we don't have consequences for judges or for parolee boards. But it does feel like there should be something because it happens all the time.
I mean, I think that's just a symptom of like how broken the justice system is and like how the system kind of seems set up not to protect victims, but to...
I don't know. I wish I had all the answers
because
it does. I mean, and I'm certain that we are hearing so many of these. There are probably people that get out on parole and go on to make better lives and don't hurt people. But
they don't make the news.
We hear these data points though that are really.
Well, that's why I'd be curious. I'd be so curious what the data is.
Yeah, it's alarming and it's tragic, And I don't know the answer. It does feel like there should be more. I mean, I know that prison is supposed to be a place of reform, but it feels like there's very little done inside prison to actually work towards reform. And it's too bad. I mean, I don't know how to fix that either, but let's write a book.
Okay. We need a statistician to take a look at the statistics.
Listeners,
us.
if you have this information, email us at thespookydarlings@gmail.com. We want to hear from you.
Yeah. I don't know. I get so tired of cases where it's like, and then they were let out and then they murdered 30 people. It's like,
It's definitely a complicated issue, and I think we should just stay right here and solve it.
Yes.
wow, Emmy, excellent job.
Never heard of that guy.
Thank you.
I feel like I did see, when you were talking about that case, I was like, I feel like I've read about it. But I don't know if I read about it because you sent us that website.
Yeah. I mean, there were a couple of shows done on it. They called it one of them called it the Model Home Murders.
Yeah.
It's just sad, and
Yeah.
just two young, beautiful women, that always kind of captures everybody's attention, which is, I know, not fair. But I think it is one of those that did get a lot of attention because of that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Just senseless murder.
Yeah. Interesting case.
Cindy,
Terrible.
it was Cyndi and
Lori.
Cindy and Lori.
I just wonder why this weird power thing he had with forcing them to take off their clothes. That's the thing that's puzzling to me, is if his intention was just robbery and he just needed money, what was the purpose of forcing them to disrobe? If it wasn't because I'm going to leave them alive and I don't want them to chase after me,
just that weird sense of control and power, having power over other people. Some people think that hurting others is gaining power, and they're wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really sad and awful. And I just feel for the families. It's just a terrible.
that poor Lori's poor fiance,
Johnny Tuggles.
Yeah.
Johnny Tuggles. Yeah, poor guy.
Tuggle. Johnny Tuggle. No
Johnny
S.
Tuggle.
Well,
whatever.
should we, somebody have something they want to talk about that was good in there?
Yeah, let's add. I'll tell you, I had a really fun New Year's last night. It was our first, Brent's and my first New Year in a long time where we've actually been in town instead of traveling. And we went out to dinner with some friends, and then we went out to Hot Lake Hotel, which is a haunted hotel that's right outside of our town. And there were some bands and dinner, and just had a really fun time listening to music and chatting with people. And it was a blast.
Yay.
Great way to spend New Year's Eve and bring in the new year.
Nice.
What did you both do? Or
Well,
you can tell me something else.
My fourth toe on my right foot, I got a mole removed. So new year, new feet.
This is how you celebrated the New Year's.
Jason and I made us some martinis. This one was super delicious. This was not Jason's favorite, but I used lemon stuffed olives. And then I used that brine to make the martini. Right. And it was just really refreshing, and it was so delicious.
I love a good lemon stuffed olive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. Can I just tell for our listeners, when Haley got the mole removed off her toe in our sister chat, she said she got a different mole removed. That's what she went to the dermatologist for, was to get one that had appeared recently removed. But then she said, and then she removed my childhood toe mole. Childhood toe mole. Like it was a precious memory.
I don't know why I worded it like that,
toe mole.
but I did. I had to say goodbye to it before I mean, of course, she was like, all right, we should get rid of this. And I was just like, oh, okay.
My childhood toe mole? But I've had it since childhood.
Because I was a new patient. And so she did the full body examination.
I just wonder if I ever get this one removed off my shoulder, if I'll refer to it as my childhood shoulder mole.
You probably should.
I'll be like, my childhood mole?
It's gone. And I didn't even get to keep it in a jar.
Gross. Yeah.
What about you, Emmy?
Oh, still got all my moles. Oh, no, I had one taken off in college.
Oh, nice.
Oh. No, what did you do with your New Year's is kind of what I was wondering. Thanks for the mole update.
Okay, for New Year's, we some lovely neighbors invited us over, and we went over and hung out with them for a while. Bandit was really struggling. Bandit's my dog. He was struggling because of all the fireworks. So I brought him over there for a little bit, but then we ended up bringing him home and cuddling him and making sure he was okay. He just gets so nervous with fireworks, and lots of people set him off all over the place here. So we came home. I'd gotten some caviar and creme fraiche and champagne. So Jordan and I watched a little TV and had some caviar, and it was really nice.
Yay.
It does sound delightful.
Sounds so lovely. I want to get caviar now.
Yeah.
Right, and then I watched...
I was just going to say I was in bed by 12:05. Rang in the new year and then tucked myself in. It was lovely.
I was in bed by 1, but it took us a good 20, 30 minutes to get out of the hot lake after the music ended. Mm-hmm. And they were so funny because when they were counting down, the band stopped playing like 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half before actual midnight. And then the band was like, okay, let's turn the mic over to our host, Bob. And then this guy, Bob, takes the microphone and he's like, okay, I have no idea. What time is it? And someone's like, it's 11:59. He goes, it's 11:59 now. Let's just make it up. 20, 19. And someone goes, 14. And then he's like, 14, 13. It was pretty funny. So we're not completely sure we actually toasted exactly at midnight, but we...
Oh, that's so funny.
It was pretty funny. But yeah, it was super fun.
Great.
Well, Happy New
We
Year.
were in bed by 9:30.
Oh, nice. Smart.
Happy New Year, sisters. I'm super excited about this new year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, sisters. Happy
Ringing
New
it
Year's,
in.
listeners. Thank you for listening. You guys are the best.
You are. And I will close us out now.
Okay.
Thanks, Emily, for a great episode. Once again, we are the Spooky Darlings. You can find us on our socials on TikTok and Instagram at the Spooky Darlings Podcast. On both of those socials. And if you have anything you'd like to share, any comments, questions, stories of your own,
Do you have a story about a mole being removed? Was it your childhood mole? Let us know.
yes, was it sentimental? I would love to hear some adventures. I don't know why. I would be fascinated. You can email it to us, and you can be like, this is just for your ears or eyes only.
Yeah, we'll keep it private if you need.
Or you can share it. And the email address for those things is thespookydarlings@gmail.com. And we thank you for listening. And if you'll take a moment, write us a review and leave us a 5-star rating, it would make our hearts so happy.
Yay.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Goodbye.
Bye.
5 stars.
Tomo.
It sure did. Special was. I'm going to rearrange those words in editing to make them make sense.
Or just cut it.
Special was.
It did. Sure. Special was.
Okay. Should I bring us in? Are
Yeah,
we ready?
Do it, because I'll just keep saying random words.
I love it. Before we start, what was it where you're like, I'm going to cut this whole part? And I was like, no, you got to keep, because you kept on being like, doo-ba-doo-doo-doo, or something, like something like that. It was just so funny in the episode. It made me laugh.
It made me laugh too. That's why I kept it in. I
Okay.
think that's when, because Emily was like, why aren't you singing the tune to Deck the Hall? And I was like, because I was making for Fa La 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 Follow Up Friday.
You're like, fa la 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 la, follow up Friday, or something like that.
You're like, why would you sing it? And I was like, I don't know what song you're talking
I don't know
about.
a song that's called fa la 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 up Friday.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny listening back to that.
Oh, guys, I already told you guys. I got my childhood toe mole removed. I don't know why I keep calling it my childhood toe
I just kept rereading that, going, her childhood Tomo. And then I kept going, like, was there some story about that developing in childhood? Like, why? And then I was like, love that you're...
I think the saddest part to me for you in that is that you didn't know before the appointment that you were losing that childhood toe mole. So you didn't get to take a picture and say goodbye.
I know.
You're like, R.I.P., little fella.
Maybe I should have asked her to keep it.
Can you put it in a jar, please?
I bet she did.
For witchcraft? Oh, that's why she kept it. Emily already said that. She's going to use it for witchcraft. But you could have kept it for your own
Hey,
witchcraft.
I said it in a text. I didn't say it into a microphone.
That's true.
Yep. That's
Okay.
We have to
That's
do
the
1, 2,
truth.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3, clap. Wait, did you, I'm sorry.
You're so weird at that.
Did you do clap on the word clap?
That's what most people do. But if you want to do 1, 2, 3,
No,
and then
I-
say clap and then clap one beat after, that's also what you can do.
I want to do it on the word clap. I just, as I said clap and did not clap, I realized I did it wrong.
Okay, let's try it again.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Where are your clap hands? You're like, are you ready?
What? 1, 2, 3, clap. Got it. It was sure special. Did. Before we disappear into the shadows, don't forget, we're still sending out vinyl stickers. Leave us a rating and review and email us proof to thespookydarlings@gmail.com, along with your mailing address, and we'll send you some spooky snail mail while supplies last. And if your heart is still mourning that tote bag, may we gently tempt your way toward our merch store at thespookydarlings.printful.me. Treat yourself. You deserve it. Thanks for listening. And as always, stay spooky.